My name is Emily Solly, and I am the current Giraffe Laugh Board President. I am honored to be here today to tell you a little bit more about my story and why Giraffe Laugh means the world to me. I started volunteering after hearing about Giraffe Laugh's mission and their work in our community, and then joined the board and put my youngest daughter on the wait list. We had been at the same child care facility for years, but it was just okay. My daughter is stubborn, spirited, opinionated, intelligent, funny, and wonderful. And I wouldn't change a thing about her, but I'll admit that she is not easy, and her teachers didn't seem to have the ability to handle her. Whenever we picked her up from school, more often than not, we'd find her in timeout. She started regularly crying and begging not to go to school. She turned 4 and joined the preschool room, but because she didn't behave, she never got to go on any of the field trips, and she was sent back to the toddler room while all of her friends went. We had a breaking point when she started to discipline herself at home. She'd do something she wasn't supposed to and would immediately put herself in isolation, in a corner, under a bed, hidden and alone. And then she would berate herself. She'd call herself names. She'd call herself stupid and bad. Her spirit was absolutely broken. We were desperate. We called Giraffe Laugh. After a year on the wait list, we somehow got in. We were relieved but nervous. Would they be able to care for our child? The short answer is an exuberant yes. She loved school and refused to miss a day, even when it was a date to the zoo with her grandpa. She could do art whenever she wanted. She went on all of the field trips to swim lessons, gymnastics, parks, botanical gardens. She came home full of knowledge and was reading after 3 months. And she started to talk. She talked about things that had happened to her at her last school. She cried and was comforted. Her teachers taught her about emotional intelligence. When she made mistakes, she took time to reflect on her actions and her feelings. It was a beautiful time. We felt like family, and we will never stop being grateful to our Giraffe Laugh teachers for what they've done for us. This is just one story of the impact of their work, and they do so much more. Our theme for today's luncheon is Imagine. As John Lennon writes, he's a dreamer, and he hopes he's not the only one. We know that children's dreams are big, and we want to be sure we support those in all ways possible. Parents' dreams for their children are big, and what we can make possible for families and children in our community is phenomenal. In Idaho, half of all children are not ready for kindergarten when they arrive, and with children from low-income families, that number can be as high as 3 and 4. I care about young children in our community and want nothing more than for all families to have access to quality early childhood programs. Every one of you is here today to help ensure that can happen. Before we go on, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our wonderful event sponsors: Norco, CDI Group of Companies, Boise Cascade, Deloitte, and In the Name of Charity. We are so grateful to our sponsors that have made this event possible today, and we extend a special welcome to those who are watching today and cheering us on. For those that don't know, in addition to this luncheon, we regularly hold mission tours, currently virtual, called Little Shoes, Big Dreams Tours. If you haven't had the chance to attend one, we'd love to invite you. Please see our upcoming dates on our website, giraffelaugh.org, or reach out to one of us and we will arrange a tour that suits your needs. The 30 minutes Little Shoes, Big Dreams tours are another way to get to know about the work we do in our community. Without further ado, I would like to share this video with you so you can see the wonderful futures we can create together. Thank you again for being here.
So, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a shark and a leprechaun.
Okay, what do you want to be when you grow up?
A skeleton. I want to be an ice cream truck driver. Fisherman.
Ooh, so what's next? So I did just graduate from Columbia. I got a master's in social work and social policy. My name is Tyra Pione. Usually I go by Haugen, and I'm an alumni of Giraffe Laugh. Part of getting my master's was a focus on understanding the effects of poverty on children. Children that go to early childhood education give back more to the community. Whether that's financially, they get great jobs, or they just are more likely to go out and participate in voluntary practices, sports, music, art, something. It's so important that we are funding programs like this. A huge part of that is donations for scholarships for children who can't afford early childhood education, donations to support funding for our teachers so that they can be paid livable wages and continue doing what they love. These children are our future, and starting right now, this is the moment right now where we can be supporting them and so that they can flourish in the future the way I did.
Can I get up now?
Can you get up?
Mm-hmm.
You don't like sitting here? Isn't this so fun?
No.
Welcome to our Futures Begin Here Luncheon. I'm Lori Facilla, the Executive Director of Giraffe Laugh, and I really can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us today to hear our Giraffe Laugh stories. As Emily said, our theme this year is Imagine. I won't sing the lyrics as written by John Lennon, but our inspiration came from his song that begins, "Imagine all the people sharing all the world." I like to imagine a world where every child has a future to be proud of. I've spent over 3 decades imagining what bright futures look like, and I've been fortunate enough to see many of those lives unfold. You'll hear just a few stories today that represent the many families impacted by Giraffe Laugh programs. I'm personally connected to the work we do for many reasons. But one reason is I vividly recall a time in my life that I needed support and a safe place for my son Alex, who was only 2 years old at the time. I couldn't find quality care, and when I did find it, I couldn't afford it. I was working in retail as I didn't have a teaching job yet, and I was forced to make choices that parents shouldn't have to make, but that in reality, many do. Do I buy gas to make it to work, pay my power bill, or do I buy food? Do I go to work sick or take my child to school sick so I don't lose wages? That's something that has very different ramifications today. Do I leave my child with a neighbor or someone I don't really trust? Well, the answer is no. I wasn't productive at my job, I was worried and stressed, and I knew my child wasn't happy. Not having a way to change that was terrifying. I knew that healthy children require safe, happy places to grow in order to thrive, and I didn't have that because I couldn't afford it. I began looking for a position in a preschool. When I found a center that would hire me and there was room for Alex, I was overjoyed. He had the start he needed and deserved, and I was lifted up in a way that allowed us to land on our feet again. His teachers not only educated him, but also supported me as a parent and strengthened my family as a result. I planned on working there until he entered kindergarten. But it wasn't long before I fell in love with early childhood and realized that all the problems I'd be dealing with in the public schools, I could be a part of solving in the first 5 years when the most rapid brain growth occurs. I was hooked, and 35 years later, 30 at Giraffe Laugh, here I still am. Giraffe Laugh provides early care, education, and nurturing to 200 children annually by ensuring school readiness, empowering families, and building strong futures. When we met last for the luncheon, it was November of 2019, and no one could have imagined what we'd be dealing with within a few short months. As it was for all of you, 2020 was a challenging year and came with a lot of uncertainty. Children needed to be safe, and parents needed to know that when they returned to work, they didn't have to worry about their child or the centers closing permanently. Over 200 childcare providers closed their doors forever last year in Idaho, creating a vacuum that has yet to be filled. We knew we had to keep moving forward and are proud to say that in 2020 we opened a new preschool in Garden City for children 4 and 5 the year before they entered kindergarten. All of the children served last year needed scholarships to attend, with the exception of one. The impact for Garden City's children is incredible, and this year we've expanded services to 3.5-year-olds and extended our hours each day. In 2021, we graduated 22 preschoolers eager and prepared for kindergarten. We held an outdoor graduation ceremony where parents could gather and the children parade around the parking lot to the tune of the graduation march. Our incredible teachers made this possible. The food pantry use went up 200%, and during the closure, our chefs prepared lunches and snacks that were handed out to area children who normally relied on school lunches. We were excited to share our coffers with the neighborhoods where we reside and to increase our supply for our parents. Our teachers have been phenomenal. Most have started a new curriculum called Creative Curriculum, and having the tools to provide the best teaching strategies has strengthened our preschool programs while supporting teachers' ability to meet the goal of ensuring school readiness. Our teachers nurture and educate young children and create a happy, safe space for them, regardless of what's going on outside their doors. Like other industries, however, we've been greatly impacted by our ability to pay teachers what they're worth. Our goal is to ensure that children have the best teacher possible, and that means paying them a livable wage. We all want to believe that in Idaho, children are not going without basic needs and education, yet that simply isn't the case. In Idaho, 69% of children under the age of 5 do not have access to quality preschool, and this shows in readiness levels when they enter kindergarten. Only half of Idaho's children are prepared for success on the first day of school. Access to quality is presently diminished for everyone. However, low to moderate income families are hit the most in terms of educational opportunities for their young children. Scholarships are the only way many of our families can participate in quality care. The impact of quality early care and education, along with support in a young family's life, has lasting effects that are almost unimaginable. Children that are prepared for kindergarten are more likely to be on reading level by 3rd grade. If they are destined for academic success in school, because up until 3rd grade, we learn to read. Then from 4th grade on, we read to learn. Literacy is key to a child's successful journey through school. It's clear that positive early childhood experiences are good for children and families. However, for every child we say yes to enrolling, we say no to 3 others. We want to say yes to more children and increase our scholarships during a time that people need us most. None of this is possible, however, without a teacher who is passionate about children and ensuring that families are nurtured. While we need to increase scholarships, we also need to increase pay for the most important people delivering an incredible service to our community, and to be able to hire qualified teachers to continue our work. As John Lennon says, imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I invite all of you to be part of creating brighter futures for young children, a place where parents feel safe leaving their child so they can be productive at work or in school, and a place where teachers can earn a livable wage while ensuring school readiness for our next generation. The first 5 years determine how the next 80 will unfold. I can only imagine the impact we can have together to ensure this happens. I hope I'm not the only one.
My name is Kim Sanchez, and I have 2 daughters, Xochitl Moreno and Jimena Moreno, which attended the Giraffe Laugh preschool. I right now work with adults with disabilities as a job coach, so I go out and help them at their jobs. My life before Giraffe Laugh was a roller coaster. Beginning of COVID, everything was shutting down, work, the schools. Also, because of my reduced hours, I had gotten behind on bills, rent. My landlord had given me a 30-day notice. Having my oldest at home because of the schools was just stressful. So I started to see the light at the end of the tunnel when I got a flyer from my oldest daughter's school about the new Giraffe Laugh preschool. Once preschool started, Jimena started, she loved it. She quickly adjusted, made friends, and just about every day she would, say, this is what I learned, this is the new song that we learned, this is the sound that this letter makes, this is what we're working on, and it was wonderful. I had found out that they had a summer program too. Just a lot of programs, which are wonderful for everybody. What I loved most about that program is that they keep the education going. Like, they don't just stop and playtime, even though it's summer break, which is fine, They still did a lot of fun things and stuff, but they integrated education things. And man, Jimena would come home. We dissected owl poop today. Like, look at these little mouse bones. And I'm like, what? They would talk about like plants and just all of these things that would never cross my mind to ever do as my child, because like, where am I gonna say, let's go dissect owl poop? Once you enter the Giraffe Laugh family, like, you are your family. They don't turn you away if you're not able to afford anything. They work with you. And if you really are in a hole at that moment, kind of like I was when I started the preschool program, they have scholarships from donations that people give to the Giraffe Laugh program that help people like me. I was able to use that money for the bills, get caught up on my rent, and get back on my feet. Giraffe Laugh had Thanksgiving and Christmas programs that really left me speechless, honestly, because they gave you the help for Thanksgiving. Like, how many people? Here you go. All you got to worry about is cooking. If they would have thrown in a cook, it would have been better. But then for the Christmas, they had like an adoption program, which I had never heard about. And we got adopted by a wonderful family that I don't know who it is, but I gave them so many thank yous and hugs. Definitely, for sure, because they made my daughter's Christmas amazing. Like, they helped so much. Now that Jimena started kindergarten, I don't have even 1% of doubt of her being behind on learning because of the Giraffe Laugh preschool. Some kids, they weren't able to get education, especially preschoolers. It's hard to do preschool virtually. So her having that chance to have done it in person, now in kindergarten, it shows. It shows that she is ready, that she knows, the classroom rules. I know that Giraffe Laugh program, preschool program, played a part in that for sure. I can't stop saying thank you.
Okay, my name is Ariana Mcneil. I have 2 kids that go to Giraffe Laugh. I have Tyson, who's 8 months, and I have Preston, who's 19 months. My temporary housing through Catch involves maintaining a full-time job and becoming financially self-sufficient. It's a 12-month program, and I'm about 7 months in, and I'm due to graduate in November, which would be considered an early graduate because I've done so well. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without Giraffe Laugh, for sure. I was a little bit nervous the first day I brought my kids here because I've been the only person to ever be around them since they were born. But I knew I had no choice. I knew I had to do it. When I got here, it was just such a positive atmosphere. And then every day since, when I'm like, hey, you want to go to daycare? They just get so happy. My son will come home and he'll teach me sign language. I'll actually have to like look it up because I'm like, okay, he keeps telling me something, but I'm not quite sure what that is. And now he can tell me more, he can tell me eat, he can tell me, there's probably 10 or 15 things that kid can tell me in sign language. And Tyson has learned how to crawl already. He's learned how to set up. He's about 2 months more advanced than Preston was. So the food program that's offered has helped extremely as a single mom. I don't have to worry about packing meals at night or remembering to bring them in the morning. I know that my kids are eating healthy because when they bring home that note that they get every day, it's saying what they ate. It's always healthy food. It's comforting knowing I'm not gonna have to provide the formula because that's expensive. I feel pretty confident in mine and my kids' futures, and thanks to childcare, really, it makes me comfortable enough to know that I'm gonna be able to now go to school full-time and then be able to also work full-time knowing that my kids are getting the attention that they need. And without childcare, I'm telling you, I would not be able to do anything. And that's why I'm here now, is because I want to be able to express my gratitude for the things that you guys do for my kids and me, because I know that I wouldn't be able to get anywhere without childcare.
The desire to want to be a better person came from losing my daughter. Her name is Destiny. I lost her when I went to prison. She got adopted. When I lost the right to see her again, I was messing up pretty bad. That's when I found out I was pregnant. And the day I found out I was pregnant is the day I got sober. I turned myself into jail, made sure that I did everything by the book, because the one thing that I learned when I lost Destiny is that it was the worst possible thing in the world. I was in a very bad relationship with Jonathan's father, and he was not a nice man. He will never be in our life, you know, and that was a hard, scary decision. But when I turned myself in, like I said, I also turned myself in to get freedom. When I was locked up, I made a pact with myself that I was going to start my life. And Albertsons works with felons because I wanted to get into the bakery so that I could start working on opening my own business. That's gonna be Robin's Nest. It's gonna be a cupcake flower shop. But God had other plans, and I started in the deli. So I had to find daycare on my own, which is a very scary process. At that time, I had funding through health and welfare, but once you start working and you're trying to build a life, they take that away. The people that you could go to are those in-home daycares. So we started at one daycare. After that, I was given a promotion and became a manager, and COVID hit. So we started at a daycare that had late hours. It ran until 10 p.m. COVID really affected everything. One day I got a phone call telling me that the Friday was gonna be the last day. It was a very stressful, very scary situation. I remember calling Giraffe Laugh and then asking how much the fee was. And automatically I'm like, well, I'm sorry. There's no way I could ever possibly come up with that kind of funding. She said there was a scholarship. When they got back to me and told me the amount that I was gonna be paying, I just cried, you know, because that amount made sure that I didn't have to just be eating ramen or, you know, chicken nuggets, you know. We could eat more kind of balanced diets. My son is safe, he's truly happy, and he's excited to go. Jonathan can count to 25. Sometimes he skips 17. I don't know why he doesn't like that number, but he skips that one. So we have to work on that, but he knows his colors, he knows some shapes. Jonathan's future is going to be amazing. The kid's so smart, and I don't think he would be there without the help of Giraffe Laugh. And I want him to look at me and one day be proud of me, and one day hope Destiny will see what I'm doing and know that She wasn't the failure in my life. She was what gave me the desire and the drive to want to be a better person for my son, so I didn't screw somebody else up.
I'm Mike Sharp. I've been on the Giraffe Laugh board for the last 3 years. And I can tell you I've been just absolutely blown away by the effects of this organization. It's been the honor of a lifetime to be a part of it. Working in news is what most of my career is. And I can tell you that the effects of an organization are usually not felt as immediately as the effects of this organization seem to be. I connect with Giraffe Laugh for personal reasons. I think everybody in attendance today has their own reasons why they feel connected to Giraffe Laugh. Maybe it's the person sitting at your table, maybe it's a friend who told you about the organization, but for me, it's the kids. My own story about hunger starts in a very specific memory from my childhood where I was standing in my kitchen. I remember the yellow lights. I remember it was an evening, probably elementary school age. And I remember the look on my mom's face when she had to tell me that we didn't have dinner that night. There was a look of fear. There's a look of shame having to say that to your kids. But what I remember isn't necessarily the hunger. It's not the fact that I wasn't going to have food that night. The pain that I had was about managing the pain of the grown-ups in my life. You see, kids become adults too quickly under the best of circumstances. They're left managing relationships, managing the emotions of their parents. I remember going to school and not being able to focus because my parents were talking about bills and that was in the back of my mind. I remember the tummy aches of trying to get through lunch so that you could save food so you could bring that home and have that for you when you get home. Kids should be allowed to focus on their classwork and not have to focus on all these extraneous things and the emotions and the feelings that come with the struggle of being an adult. We know that 1 in 6 kids is enduring hunger. That means 4 kids in my daughter's 24 student classroom don't know where their meal is coming from when they go home tonight. I'm lucky. My story is different, and my story is different because I had somebody who cared enough to focus on my education, to make sure that I was ready when I went into kindergarten. That one person is key. And that one person can be a teacher, and there are a lot of those one people at Giraffe Laugh. I like to think about childhood as running on a track with hurdles. Maybe you can run faster than the kid next to you, but it doesn't matter if you have to jump over hurdles. And everybody has their own hurdles. Everybody has their own thing that slows them down, that makes things a little bit more difficult. Literally every single person has those things. But if we can remove just 1 or 2 hurdles so that that kid can gain his speed or her speed and get to the point where she wants to be, it all benefits us. And that's what we're doing here today, is we're trying to get rid of the hurdles. Today you've learned a lot about Giraffe Laugh, and you've heard from just a few of the many families impacted by Giraffe Laugh over the past 3 decades. Their stories are only possible because of the generous donations and support that we have received from people just like you who also imagine a brighter future for every child. Now, it's our privilege to ask you to join us in making a financial investment to support our programs and our day-to-day operations. Today, we are hoping to grow our giving society, the Dream Big Society. Our society members are the folks who have seen the work that Giraffe Laugh does, recognize the need for our services in the community, and have made a lasting financial contribution to our programs that allows us to plan a future that is unimaginable for the children who need us. If you have been inspired by what you've seen today and what you've heard, I ask you to consider joining me this afternoon as a member of our Dream Big Society, which I'll explain in just a minute. But first, we have some exciting news. We have multiple generous leadership gifts and commitments to announce in the amount of $50,000. The names of those incredible people who are committing to supporting our programs are listed on your screen. We're grateful for the impact their pledges make possible. Additionally, we have an opportunity to match any commitments made today. Thanks to generous donors, every dollar brought in today is going to be matched up to $50,000. We want to help rewrite a child's story for a future that isn't dictated by where they were born or in what circumstance. We want to make more of an impact helping the over 500 kids and families on our wait list. So we're going to need your help. We hope you can imagine a future for our children that is brighter in our community. There are 3 ways to give, and we will begin with the pledge sheet for the Dream Big Society. Either using the Google form on the event page or the envelope that was mailed to you, you will see the name of the pledge levels for the Dream Big Society. Those levels give you a sense of what your contribution to the unrestricted operating funds of Giraffe Laugh can do. I'll explain them while you locate your envelope or navigate to the Google Doc. The first giving level is called Readiness and is a pledge of $1,000 each year for 5 years, which is really only $83 per month. Your gift at that level will help us provide quality early care and education to one child from our wait list, just like Jonathan, for each of the next 5 years. The second giving level is our stability level. It is a pledge of $2,000 per year for 5 years. If you should choose that level, a $1 increase per hour for 5 teachers is made possible. The next giving level, our empowerment level, is a pledge of $5,000 a year for 5 years. For those of you who give at that level, you will allow us to provide scholarships for 5 newborn babies. The last level, Success, is a pledge of $10,000 per year for 5 years. You will be supporting the entire classroom of preschoolers, just like Jimena, for the next 5 years, who will head out into the world ready, eager, and prepared for kindergarten and beyond. If you are joining us today as members of the Dream Big Society, we thank you on behalf of the children and families we serve. For those of you who have previously pledged your support to our Dream Big Society, we thank you for your commitment to the children in our community. And today I'm going to ask you too to reaffirm your commitment to our program by either increasing the amount of your pledge or extending your pledge for another year, or even restarting your previous 5-year pledge at the same giving level. Thank you for your continued support. For those of you who may prefer to give at a different level, please tell us how much you would like to give and how many years. For example, if you're unable to give at the empowerment level at this time, you may wish to commit $1,000 per year for 3 years. Whatever level of support you can provide, we ask that you make that first payment on your pledge today, and remember that all funds pledged today are matched up to that $50,000 number. Finally, you may have some other idea of something else you can offer. Perhaps you'd like to make a gift of stock, or you'd like to add our program as a beneficiary in your will. If so, please check the box on the Google form that says, "Please contact me. I have other thoughts to share." Or contact Cassandra Wagner at cassandra@giraffelaugh.org. You may also navigate on our website if you prefer and make a donation there. Please know that whatever you give today, including the gift of your time, we sincerely appreciate your support for the Giraffe Laugh children and teachers. I'll turn the program back to Emily.
I want to thank everyone again for joining us today for our Futures Begin Here Luncheon. We are very grateful for those who have shared their wonderful stories with us and for each of you who have shared your time today. We want to thank and extend a special welcome to those of you who have joined as our newest members of the Dream Big Society. Because of you, we can change children's lives in ways unimaginable. You are investing in the most important part of our community. We again invite all of you who would like to learn more about our programs to attend one of our upcoming Little Shoes, Big Dreams tours. As I mentioned, upcoming dates for our tours can be found on our website or by contacting Cassandra Wagner, our philanthropy director. Futures really do begin here, and every one of you has become a part of that future here today. Thank you so much for your time with us this afternoon, and please enjoy the rest of your day.